Alright folks, the final patch for 2024 with a vehicle dump, mostly for holiday ops, but there's a lot, 16 in total. So we're going to split this video into two. First part will focus on high tier, tier 9 through 8, and the rest will be a second video for the bottom tier, filler tanks, but Object 265T, special tier 9 now, not premium. It's already on the Russian server, but at tier 8 as premium. So Object 283 repeat, a free gift, if you will. I mean, people are rigging with bots in the patent. The patent was given out for free last year, so many new accounts use the free tier 9 to bot and inflate the stats or other stuff, but I don't know, maybe Battle Pass, but Battle Pass vehicles have infinite large repair kit, so this might be placed later on, like with the AE Phase 1 or 777 version number 2, who knows, but Project of Heavy Tank, blah blah blah. It has slope armor still, V-shaped hull, similar to the Russian version of this vehicle, but our version is a auto reloader compared to the cyclic version on the Russian server. But let's see, firepower, DPM is not half bad for an auto reloader. I mean, it's better than the tier 10 Italian auto reloader, that is the Riceroni, the Rinoceronte. So some upsides, but crew of 4, and let's see the actual dispersion on this vehicle. So I placed it already. Dispersion sucks while moving. It's about the same as the Felice, or 590, which is not great, but let's see, or Felice. Felice has very good turchaverse dispersion. Yeah, turchaverse dispersion is great. Hull traverse and moving is crap, so you're not supposed to shoot while moving, but 590? It's about this. It's even better on moving and hull traverse than the 590. About the same as with turchaverse. God, dispersion while moving suck, but it's a reward. Tier 9 now. Oh god, they're going to rig with a free Object 265. Okay, I mean, a free tank is a free tank, but I think this might be a little bit better than the patent. I mean, anything is better than the patent. The patent got so crap of armor. But let's see. It's supposed to be V-shaped hull still, but yeah, you cannot overcommit to the side scraping. You'll still have a very bouncy auto bounce of a V-shaped hull design, but it's not as thick as the Russian server. It's only 75 compared to about 90 on the Russian server. So let's see. Already have it up, but let's see. Russian server version at tier 8. It's 110. Jesus, it's not even 90. Oh crap, that's a lot better side armor and a tier lower. Well, Russian server balancing is off the charts, so we cannot really compete the meta, but yeah, 110 is dramatically different than 75. V-shape or not, but alright, so armor is still relatively okay, I guess. Upper plate about 270 with a slight angle, 280. Bottom plate 180, baseline to about 210, which is not half bad. You have an engine deck that's only 30, so don't face hug, only side scrape, but yeah, don't get too close. Your engine deck will be overmatched. Cupola is still weak. There is a periscope in front of the cupola that might eat the shot, but turret front 300. Armor is still okay. I mean, it's not as good side scraping as with the Russian version, but it's still fine, I guess. 14 horsepower per ton ratio. I think it's a little bit better than the Russian server. and better top speed. Yeah, better top speed than the Russian server. Weighs about the same, obviously. 53 tons. Camo, alright for a heavy. View range, not the worst. Russian server view range is like 350. Presumably, 350. Standard tier 8. Garbage Russian view range. But, it's a special tank, so maybe battle pass, right? We don't have any more tier 9s in the lineup for battle pass next year, other than the K91 version number 2 with the 122 or just forward mounted turret version, but maybe. So we have a marathon similar to the T32M, the M103M. It's like with the T32 in a sense, but more so because of the gun. It's a 105 compared to a 120 on the tech tree version, but anything else practically the same. Same armor, same mobility and view range, but just a different gun practically. But you should get a new skin for the marathon, presumably, and there should be a film or TV show tie-in, as we saw with Snatch or Terminator or the Dune stuff, but or the Viking stuff. But yeah, it's a 105 experimental 7M. It should be a 105. Yeah, alpha damage is not as good as a standard 390, but you have a very quick aim time, relatively okay, decent enough accuracy, but DPM as well. Let's compare the actual DPM with this thing. So M103M, compare this to the actual M103. You have better DPM, better accuracy, dispersion while moving and traversing, faster shell velocity, smaller caliber. It's a 110. I thought it was 105. Alright, that's fine. 55 rounds compared to 45, better potential damage, cost less per shell, even though dealing less alpha. Better horsepower per ton ratio. Oh, they actually buffed it. Surprisingly. Better traverse speed for the turret. And about the same camo, technically. Oh, they actually buffed the horsepower per ton ratio. I mean, 17.2 for a heavy tank is not bad. I mean, it's close to the Concept 1B, but it's an M103. So this might be the best tier 9 premium when it comes out, competing against the SDRVK or Chieftain Proto. This might be the best tier 9 premium heavy tank in the lineup. Yeah, better than the E77 or Tiger Mouse, but okay, I mean, it's still the same armor, right? Should be. The giant cupola tumor on top, but bouncy upper plate. Yeah, very bouncy. Some trollish area of a strip of 25mm, but shoot the cupola to pin. But then again, this thing should turn the turret to throw out the shots. Shoot a bottom plate, but sometimes it's kind of thick somewhere. So trollish angles and shell absorption spots somewhere around the road wheels. Whoa, what kind of crevice is this? Oh my gosh, it's all 300. Yeah, there are some crevices, but sometimes you shot trap beneath the mantlet into the top of the driver hatch, but yeah, it's only 25. Yeah, armor should be relatively decent, but this thing has 17.2 horsepower per ton ratio now. Originally, it was the same, right? They buffed it. I think they buffed it from the super test. Camo, heavy tank. It's better than 3%, but 390 meters of view range. It's about the same as the M103. So, yeah, marathon for this. Not exactly a bad vehicle, but it's not exciting without the skin or the tie-in. So give it a Terminator skin, and we should be fine. But if they're going to just release this as is Without the skin, kind of bland, but the performance is still there. So, alright, moving on. ERAC 105 Proto. It's a light tank. It's not a premium now. So, along with the 265T, we could see this vehicle as Battle Pass fodder for next year, right? But we don't have a light tank for Battle Pass tokens. Yeah, we don't. Only have like tank destroyers, heavy and mediums. No light tank, obviously no artillery, but it's a 105. It's on a chunky body of a light tank. So like with the HWK 12-ish of a design, but crew of 3 has a 105, obviously, but yeah, DPM is not the craziest out of a tier 9, but then again, it's a light tank, has 8 degrees gun suppression, 222 pin, which is not half bad. Usually it's about 200 for a tier 9 light tank, but 320 alpha, nah. So 1400 health, no armor whatsoever. Let's see dispersion. We haven't checked the actual dispersion. ERAC 105, not the worst, but size of this thing is kind of chunky. It's about the same size as the RU-251 or the LPT-67, the Czech autocannon, but it's a big chunky boy. I mean, just don't slow down, or if you do, just make sure you get away pretty quickly. Yeah, dispersion is alright. I mean, you could snipe a few rounds, dealing 320 alpha. Not the worst, but no armor whatsoever. Yeah, no armor whatsoever. It's a paper tank, obviously. So shoot anywhere you'll pin, especially with high explosive. But mobility wise, 30 horsepower per ton ratio, 70 kilometers per hour top speed, weighs about 8 tons. Not bad. I think it's not bad. It might be faster in a straight line than the AMX 1390, but not as good horsepower per ton ratio, if I remember correctly. Yeah, not as good horsepower per ton ratio as the AMX 1390, but better top speed. Yeah. And not as good terrain resistance, so basically cancels out. Actually, even worse horsepower per ton, along with the terrain resistance, so you are slower going through mud. It's a little bit more chunky. Actually weighs less than the AMX 13. Well, then again, it's an AMX 13. Yeah, it makes sense. It's weighing less, funny enough, even though the body is kind of bigger. Better view range. Potential damage might be a tough go around for this vehicle, but then again, it's better. It's slightly better than the AMX 1390. Does cost more per shell, even though alpha damage is not doubled. It's only 50% more alpha damage at about almost double the price. Well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, DPM is not great, but you do have the alpha damage punch close enough of a larger caliber gun, somewhat. It's okay. I feel it's okay. Camo could be better, so only 16%. And view range, 390. Camo is not as good, but better view range than the AMX 1390. It's fine. I mean, if it's a reward tank for tokens in the battle pass, it's not the worst. So we haven't seen a light tank for battle pass, and you could have a better repair time with the large infinite repair kit for battle pass vehicles or token vehicles, but it's fine. I say it's fine. I think it's fine. It's not premium anymore. So, moving on. Char Murat, or Project Murat, at tier 9 compared to tier 10 on the other servers and console. But premium tank, makes the bonds and credits. It's a 105 with an autoloader. Armor is not as good, I think, as the Russian server version. So the Russian server surprisingly has very good turret armor and surprising hull armor compared to this thing, but yeah, let's just take a quick look. It's not the first time we're seeing this vehicle. So practically a larger AMX 30-ish mixed with a Leopard 1. It's a quad-track vehicle, even though we don't have the spare track system for the quad tracks like with the AE Phase 1. So only the Yo tanks have it. But on the Russian server, they just modify it for all the quad track placement of vehicle design. But on the Russian server, we already talked a lot about this. They have it at tier 10 as a reward tank. But in their version, they have the quad track spare track system. So similar to the Yo tanks. We don't have that. So that's unfortunate. But the firepower wise, about the same as a Future Project 4, right? About the same. Close enough. You have better reload time between each shell, but you have one less ammo than the Future Project 4. Still a crew of 3. And DPM is about the same, but the Future Project 4 has like 260mm pin for sniping. This only has like 250. Let's see. Char Murat compared to... Where the hell is the Future Project 4? Yeah, less pin. 264. About the same. DPM, about the same, but you have one less shell in the clip. You do load faster between each shot and better dispersion while moving, so you could still use a vertical stabilizer, but turret traverse dispersion is a lot better. So snapshotting is a lot better with this vehicle than the Future Project 4. At the cost of shell velocity and some of the horsepower per ton ratio. Not too much, right? Still the same top speed, but less health and surprisingly less armor for some reason on the hull. And worse camo, but better view range. Better gun depression without the aid of the tracks. So just 12 baseline, which is great, but this doesn't have the armor as with the Russian server version. So it does have the 12 degrees and mitigate the cupola on top, even though it's not that tall of a cupola. It's actually not even there. Close enough, not even there, but mantlet is pretty weak. Only 150. Oh no. I mean, could eat the high explosive anti-tank round, but yeah, hull armor is crap. Jam a high explosive, you'll pin. Mantlet is kind of crap. There are areas where armor overlaps with the mantlet, but yeah, not too much. So still a sniper of a vehicle, or at least support, but yeah, side armor's crap. Everywhere else, kind of crap. So compare this armor of 54 effective and 150 for the turret to the Russian server version, which is like 300 or so, if I remember correctly. No, 350, not 300. God. And about 500mm effective. Upper plate, slope 120 compared to 35. Lower plate is 180. Lower plate is thicker than the upper plate, but worse angle. A lot worse angle, but still, it's about 230mm effective. That's dramatically different than 35 or 70. That's not even in the same realm of armor, but they have it as a reward tier 10 for the third set of personal mission, I believe. So it should be that tough, alright? It should be that good. So yeah, okay. It's night and day in terms of armor. Yeah, the cupola is also very well sloped at 50 or 180 compared to 20. Okay. It's not even the same vehicle, mostly. It has the gun depression, but they also have the autoloader. And obviously the autoloader performs better with better pin. And the same 12 degrees gun depression, but at least we have better accuracy. That doesn't matter. Yeah, it's alright of a vehicle, but 21 horsepower per ton ratio, 60 kilometers per hour top speed, without the bonus track system thing. Camo, yeah, like a fat medium tank mostly. Close enough. But view range, okay, still workable, but 400, same camo. 16 horsepower. This thing is slower. It has the armor, but it's slower. Slower top speed. And lower horsepower per ton ratio. Huh. Interesting. Still 45 tons, but yeah, less performance out of the engine compared to our version. But our version has no armor, so a weird trade-off, right? Weird, but it is still a premium, not a special tank. So next year, loot box for like Return to Mars or St. Patrick's Day, right? Or Lunar New Year. It's not a Chinese vehicle. Well, then again, we got the 590 from Lunar New Year, and that's not a Chinese vehicle. It's close. It's Russian, but alright, moving on. ST-66 Tier A Premium Russian medium tank. Practically Object 283 at Tier 8. Again, it is still quad tracks, but that doesn't matter for our server, unfortunately. It's also like two tanks fused together from ass to mouth or ass to ass. So like James May limousine of a design, so two medium tank chassis or light tank chassis fused together into one vehicle. Okay, it's a large target for artillery strike, but there's a splash guard for the driver, even though kind of small of a splash guard. Whatever. It's a 100mm single shot. DPM is okay. I mean, 2,300 is not bad for 217 alpha, but it's only, or 217 pin. 300 alpha is kind of if, so it's more close range of a medium, but crew of 4. Let's see the actual stats. ST-66. Oh, dispersion while moving suck. Base accuracy if, but yeah, it's a close range assault medium tank. But how good is the actual armor? 1300 health is not great for assault. But then again, it's about the same as with the Grom, in a sense of a tank destroyer, but you want about 1500 health or so. So actual armor, the shape of a 430 or so. It's 120, decently sloped upper plate, but upper plate could bounce most tier 8 guns. Not the gold shell, but still decent. Lower plate about 200. There are cheeks of only 40, so overmatched with large caliber gun. Don't get too close. Yeah, they'll be overmatched with a large caliber, like a 122. Cupola, kinda weak. So very mediocre from what I'm seeing. But it should have better mobility than some of the medium tanks or assault medium tanks, like the Super Persh or the M47. Those things actually have about like 15 horsepower per ton ratio. Surprisingly, it's slightly V-shaped too on the hull sides, but you have only 60 on other parts of the turret ring. That's not great. 18 horsepower per ton ratio and 50 kilometers per hour top speed. Not bad for an assault medium tank, but yeah, large engine deck. It's still 60, which is better than like 30. So it could still troll a few shots, even though you have a larger area when you're going down a hill. So people could still shoot like this way into the engine deck, but sometimes it bounces. Trollish enough, but it's still okay, I guess. It's fine, I guess. It's not the worst, but shell velocity alright for APCR. Dispersion while moving suck, like I said. 6 degrees gun depression. And 370 meters of view range. Camo, assault medium. Let's compare this with the M47. classic assault medium tank. Super Purge M47. Oh! Well, then again, base accuracy is better, but dispersion while moving, dramatically worse. Better DPM, better top speed, and horsepower per turn ratio. 17 on the M47. I'm surprised. Gobsmacked. Less view range, same health. I think Super Pershing has a lot more health than the M47 improved. Where the hell is the Super Persh? Yep, Super Pershing has 1500 health. So, I mean, granted, the gun doesn't perform as good. It's only at 90, but preferential matchmaking does count. It's alright. It's not the worst, but okay. At least, it's not exactly a special tank, so not like the 283 given out for chance with a slot machine, technically. But moving on, we have the object Bush, the object Kust. It is another Russian S-tank, now with a R2-D2. So the most important thing you want to know about this vehicle is, does the mini turret count as actual armor? If it does, the armor sucks. Practically negated by the little R2-D2 in the back, but if it's not there, then the best armor out of a S-tank so far on our server compared to the SU-122V. But yeah, this thing has like 110 compared to like 50 or at least 60, perhaps 80 on the 122V. But premium tank, crew of 4, jam a lot of people into Russian vehicles, 130mm, siege mode, yada yada. And hull front should be, the thing I show you. That's not hull front. 110. So better armor supposedly than the base S tank, but it's a 130mm, so punches harder than the 105s, or at least the 122 on the 122V. But let's see the actual siege mode. So dispersion while moving without siege mode is obviously crap, but in siege mode, not bad. You get better accuracy, obviously, and faster aim time, but reduce the top speed and reverse speed and traverse. Makes sense. It's an AP round compared to APCR. Shell velocity is slower than the S1, but as expected. So let's compare this to S1. So less DPM. You have more alpha and less pen. But let's see, in siege mode. So in siege mode, you have longer aim time, worse accuracy, better dispersion while moving even though you're in siege mode. Surprisingly. Well, not as good when you're traversing. So your shots will be a little bit more bloomy when you're trying to turn the vehicle to adjust to targets. Also slower mobility in siege mode, but better horsepower per turn ratio. You have a little bit more health and the armor, but the same view range. Worse camo by 7%. I thought it was a lot better. Maybe I was wrong. No, I was wrong. It's better than the SU-122V. But that thing got super nerfed compared to the Russian server version. Let's see, 122V in siege mode. What? So much worse DPM, but you have better dispersion while moving. This is siege mode, right? This is siege mode. Better horsepower per turn ratio in siege mode. And a lot better camo than the 122V. But does the armor hold up? Yeah, accuracy, aim time is worse, but better dispersion, faster shell velocity, same amount of ammo. You have a larger caliber gun technically. Yeah, 130 compared to 122. But how good is the armor? It's 110 hull front. Does the R2-D2 kill this vehicle? It freaking does! No! No! It's auto bounce for the upper plate. Yeah, it's auto bounce for the upper plate. But the R2-D2 kills it. Only at 30mm. Armor beneath the gun is only 30, so you could be overmatched at that angle, but you could also be shock trapped from the mantlet, the little nubbin of a mantlet into the 30mm crevice. But oh god, the armor. Come on, man. That's not good. Oh no. Beneath the gun, weak spot. A gigantic R2-D2, weak spot, but there are auto bounce zones, so result 100%. What the hell? We're using a 130 or 122. Huh. Somehow I'm still penetrating the bottom plate. The angle is not that crazy. Upper plate, yeah, you could bounce a few, but it's not auto bounce angle? That looks like auto bounce angles. Debatable, but oh no. R2-D2 kills this thing. Oh no. Can I get to the freaking 122V just in case? Let's see. 122V. It's 80, but there's no R2-D2 in the front. It's also at a better angle, surprisingly. 75 degrees compared to 67, 68. The angle is not as good. Oh no. You see that? Even though on paper it's thicker, it is effectively not an auto bounce. It's thick. It's about 250, 240 or so, but it's not auto bounce caliber or zone. Oh, that's unfortunate. Let's compare the S1 to see the actual angling of the Swedish S-tanks, but 70, 75, 77, even better angle than the 122V. There's a spare track link adding additional armor, so automatic ricochet, but at 45 degrees or 45mm, but still 78 compared to 75. It's not auto bounce angle now. It's only 67. So large caliber guns, its own gun, will penetrate. Oh, unfortunate. Gigantic R2-D2 kills it. Also at a worse angle, but I guess it's fine. It has better camo, but the Su-122V has artificially deflated camo compared to the Russian server version. So it's not realistic, but what the hell? No, it doesn't matter. Arbitrary. So less DPM and worse accuracy for this vehicle, but you have somewhat better armor against some caliber of a gun, but it's not as well sloped and not as good defeating obviously high explosive anti-tank rounds when angling doesn't really matter. But nah, look at this. The R2-D2 is so freaking huge. I mean, remove the chimney and this vehicle would be a lot better in terms of performance, but there's also a crevice underneath the gun that's another weak spot, and the angling on the upper plate is not it's not that great. So you saw the 10 degree less of armor angling. So okay, all right, moving on. And two vehicles the Russian server already have. The KV-4 Turchaninov. We already covered this vehicle to the death, so we'll go through this very quickly. It's an auto reloader for our version. We're at no, it's not. It's a single shot. The hell am I talking about? The Russian server has an auto reloader version. Our version is basically a larger KV-4 or KV-3. In a sense, it looks more like a KV-3, but yeah, it looks like a KV-3. We already covered this vehicle to the death. To the death. On this thing, but KV-4 Turchaninov auto reloader on the Russian server version, also premium tier 8, but it has better DPM with the auto reloader than our single shot version. What the hell? Come on. And better accuracy. The frick. And we have better aim time, but that doesn't matter that much. They have better pen. And better alpha damage. What? Not balanced. 180, 220, hull front and turret front. Better turret front, technically, by 10. But 1600 health. Let's see the actual armor in comparison to the Russian server version. 180, 210, 180. And our version is... surprised me with like 250. 10 more millimeter, but our mantlet is 250. So, yeah, mantlet could be stronger compared to 230. Alright, mantlet is stronger, and the cheeks are slightly stronger with 50 more HP, but we have a single shot. They have an auto reloader with better accuracy. Because why not? And better alpha. Alright, 12.7-ish horsepower per ton ratio, 30 kilometers per hour top speed. Man, better horsepower per ton and better top speed. That's fine. Do we have better camo? I doubt it. At the same camo, the same view range. So, trade-offs for the gun to the mobility. So, we don't get the auto reloader, they don't get the mobility. Yeah, a few trade-offs, I guess. But we already covered this vehicle to the death. So, KV-3. Practically a larger KV-3 at tier freaking 8, so collect all the KV-4s. But finally, Prototipo 6, the original chassis base for the Felice that just came out this morning, but it's 105, right? 105. The gun model is different on this vehicle than the Russian server version, but the original chassis with less armor than the Felice, and a projectile-esque of a turret design, but P44, no, that's a Panthera, P43-esque mixed with a Leopard 1-ish of a mantlet, but it's fine. Compare this to the Russian server. They have it at tier 9 with a 90mm. Even though the model looks about the same, it's a 90. Yeah, 90. It has less alpha, but better pen. The same model, too, for the gun barrel. Kind of weird. Is it the same model? Let's see. Dents into a V shape. The bore evacuator is different. Alright. Yeah, it's okay, it's a different gun, technically. Muzzle brake kind of looks the same, though. Somewhat. Slightly. Okay, fine. But, man, it's a lot better punching. Not as good penetration, though. It's a bigger caliber than the Russian server version, but auto reloader in comparison to a Projecto M35 model 1946. You have a better reload time, or you have a better punch comparison to the reload time on the M35 Projecto, but DPM is about the same if I remember correctly. Let's see. Turchaninov, okay. Garbage dispersion. We don't need to talk anymore about that thing. Let's compare the Prototipo 6 to Projecto, Panthera 35. So less DPM by 200. Worse accuracy. Longer aim time, takes longer between each shot, but you do clip out more damage. Same 3-round clip, but you have a bigger gun, so faster show velocity, surprisingly. And more module damage, but 45 rounds, potential damage is slightly better. But horsepower per ton ratio is better at the cost of top speed. Same terrain resistance. Less gun depression, and slower gun traverse and turret traverse, and hull traverse, and less health, but you have better camo and not as good view range. So there are a few slight trade-offs, but 170 turret front. Segue to the actual armor. I think that only applies to the mantlet. And like with the Leopard 1, sometimes they troll a few shots. Yeah. Sometimes the mantlet on the Leopard 1 will troll if you hit it at a bad angle. But the rest of the armor is penetrable, to say the least. So it's a medium tank. And I feel it's okay. It has better performance in terms of camo, but not as good view range. And not as good mobility, and not as good firepower as the Projecto, but it's fine, I feel. I mean, could use a little bit more DPM. But the upside is you don't get high explosive from artillery as hard, I guess. Or you have better punch with the gun, but dispersion while moving is worse. And worse accuracy, longer aim time. So it's not as good performance overall in compared to the Projecto, but it's still fine, I feel. The Russian server version has a rapid firing 90, but the DPM on a 90 for a tier 9 is not great. So it's weird how you're using a 90mm at tier 9 when normally it's about 105, right? But they have 60 km/h top speed and 23 horsepower per ton ratio compared to R 20 and 50 km/h. So our version is not as fast, about the same camo, but it's okay. I mean, it's okay of a medium tank. It's not as decent or meta defining as the Projecto, but I feel it's fine. So no crazy tier 10s, and I haven't seen the 3D styles for holiday ops. They'll likely micropatch that in, so no spoilers for now, but no 3D styles available now, no new ones for holiday ops, so no spoiler on the vehicles. But after we covered the low tier fillers, we'll cover the prediction list for all the premium tanks. So there is one vehicle out of this entire year that fell through the cracks. I want to see that vehicle. It's not available. So most of the low tier fillers are here. The Centurion, the Panzer 38K, which is like a Hetzer Panzer 3 thing, the Gabler destroyer thing. So all the low tier fillers are here. Missing one vehicle that came out during May or April on the super test, and that is the Comres 75. Tier 6 British medium tank. It's a Comet with a 20-pounder, a unmanned or small pseudo turret, but it's not here, so no Comres 75. It could be a tank destroyer now. Nope, not a tank destroyer. So let's see all. Not at tier 6. Not at tier 7. We have the Centurion Mk.IA, possibly for Gross on Panzer, but not at tier 7. Tier 8? With a Comet chassis and a 20-pounder? Nope. So the Comrade 75 has fell through the cracks. We rarely see that, right? We saw vehicles that appear out of nowhere, like the Contradictitious, the FV-226, or the Rosanov's Titty. So those vehicles appear out of nowhere without time on the super test, but the Comrades just fell through the cracks, appearing on the super test and never made it to the actual common test for some reason. So British tier 8 heavy tank. This vehicle is practically guaranteed for holiday ops, mostly because we're going to see a British heavy tank line with a can opener, the FE-230. So this is practically given. We're going to see a representation of the entire tech tree, obviously for holiday ops, but we'll do that video after the filler vehicles. So we have a bunch, and it's already like 45 minutes. Yep. So there you go, folks. All the new hidden vehicles in 1.27, the last patch for 2024. So as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
思い出せるように残された目印ああえいやああふわああえやまるでおとぎの話終わり迎えた証私を変えた出会い100分の1の旅路